better and not so loud, it's more intelligible.
I see, yeah.
Up here. That's good, fade. Very good. Good level. Good.
In 1987, Beckett collaborated on an American television version of his last play, What, Where. He reviewed the evolving production periodically on videotape, and in a departure from his usual camera shyness, allowed these sessions to be taped with a camcorder. The resulting footage provides a rare opportunity to see the playwright at work.
The idea was brilliant, to work it out, to get him to look at the play and make some sort of final adjustment, since those adjustments had to be made anyway for a video production. So that kind of direct input, which was by this time 1987 or so, is really the last theater work that he ever did. So historically, I mean, his work is extraordinarily important.
Good. In the end, then appears.
Are you free?
Yes.
Take him away and give him the works until he confesses.
What must he confess?
That he said what?
Is that all?
And where?
And another thing that struck me, you fade them out, but suddenly, at one point, suddenly they're there. Is that deliberate? For example, in the end, Dim appears, and Dim's suddenly there. He doesn't fade up, he's suddenly there. Suddenly there.
And should he fade up?
Well, it should be all fades. I don't know why. Sometimes it's fades, and sometimes not.
Mm-hmm. Can we look at that part? And you can show me what you mean?
Time passes. In the end, Dim appears. Reappears.
Well?
Nothing.
He didn't say it?
No.
He didn't say what?
No.
He didn't say where?
Beckett had written What, Where in 1983, but almost immediately after it premiered on stage, he began rewriting it for German television.
Actually, What, Where was written for the theatre, but it's much more of a television play than a theatre play.
It's very powerful on television, I think. But you originally wrote it for the theatre.
Yes, and you saw the actual characters go enter and leave, you know, with all the problems of makeup and costume and so on. And we went with this text to Stuttgart. I had modified it. But the work in Stuttgart consisted in getting rid of every superfluity, more and more, until we really got it down to the bare bones of it.
He knew he was dissatisfied with it for several reasons, but he didn't have a complete plan for how to work it out. He went over to Germany, to Stuttgart, and worked with his favorite cameraman over there, Jim Lewis, who had worked on numerous productions. And they worked out together how to turn this stage play into a video production. Well, one of the really important things that Sam knew is that the image of the voice out of the past, the voice of Bam, which on stage was a sort of hanging megaphone, was completely inappropriate. It was confusing anyway. And they settled on this very distorted view, this very distorted image of Bam that Beckett kept calling a death mask.
Gut. Endlich erscheint Ben.
One of the interesting things about Beckett, even in approaching his 80th birthday, he was an incurable tinkerer with his own work.
The phase both out and in, as far as possible, identical always. The early ones were right, and many of the later ones were right. It was just here and there on the appearance, the entries are too fast. The fades up too fast. And if you could reduce the spectral down.
Good. I am alone. In the present, as were I still. without journey. Time passes. That is all. Makes sense. Who may? I switch off.
He was in that place, but when I arrived at the place, it was a typical Parisian old age home. It was people really of another time. They were in a front, I walked through the door and there were 25 very old people watching television, watching, you know, a kind of a grotesque variety show with the volume up absolute full because they couldn't hear anything. They didn't know who he was when I asked where he was. They didn't know who he was. And there was a Venetian, a kind of ratty old Venetian blind, half cracked, and there he was at a bridge table, struggling with some work. And I can remember at one point thinking, if you pick him up and run out the door with him, it's going to be a hell of a mess. But there was definitely an impulse to just grab him and run with him out of that place.
Seen always from behind whithersoever he went. Same hat and coat as of old when he walked the roads, the back roads. Now as one in a strange place seeking the way out in the dark. In a strange place blindly in the dark of night or day seeking the way out. Our way out to the roads, the back roads.
Beckett had finished. He could maybe have written another little thing, but he finished his work. The work is there. Death didn't put an end to it. You see, that's the difference, where some people are going to think, this is the final test because death stopped him. No, the work was finished. And so in a way, I was not sad because the work was interrupted. I was sad because a great man, a friend, someone I really respected, towards whom I had a great, no longer was present.
Amongst those that I published, he certainly towers above any of the others. And that's not to say there weren't others who were very good, and others very, very good who were influenced by him and went on to do their own very original work, like Harold Pinter and David Mamet. But to me, I mean, he towered above the others, and it's, you know, it's sort of self-serving to say what I think about him in the general climate or atmosphere or history of modern literature, but I think that he is one of the very few original voices of the century.
What did he mean to you personally?
Well, I identified with him. I don't know. I just told you, I identified with him very strongly, and yet at the same time, it was like seeing the, let's say if you'd known Freud, being with somebody who was very understanding and who had shared some kind of an experience in common.
We drifted in among the flags and stuck. The weather went down, sighing before the stem. I lay down across her with my face in her breasts and my hand on her. We lay there without moving, but under us all moved, and moved us gently up and down and from side to side. Past midnight, never knew such silence. The earth might be uninhabited. Here I end this reel. Box 3, spool 5. Perhaps my best years are gone, when there was a chance of happiness. But I wouldn't want them back. Not with the fire in me now. No, I wouldn't want them back.
If only I had known before the breathing began what I know now, and if only I knew now what I knew then, perhaps when the breathing is over.